To whom do we spiritually surrender on the path? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. By the barakah of our Shaykh, Quddisa Sirruh. If we acknowledge the necessity of surrendering one's intellect to the authority of a spiritual master to learn a knowledge rooted in the ontological transformation of the self through devotion and annihilation in the Shaykh, the intermediary who embodies the very knowledge and essence the seeker strives to unlock, then we must earnestly inquire, to whom does one offer such unwavering surrender, and by what signs is this true guide recognized? Through my years of wayfaring at the hand of Sidi Shaykh, I came to recognize the grave danger of taking a role model in the path who is a claimant and not an authentic Shaykh. This is the highest of stations and the mightiest of knowledge one embarks upon, so seekers must be exceedingly careful to find the right guide. In a time where spiritual leaders seem more numerous than seekers themselves, one must recognize that the order of things and the mighty nature of this domain dictate that the spiritual elite must be very rare. The danger in following a claimant is that you surrender yourself to an impostor physician of the heart who is as sick, if not more so, than you, due to the pride that led him to claim this lofty station of Sufi guide. May Allah Most High protect us from such misguidance. Such a person can only misguide you, and they themselves are in need of a master to walk the path, if not first a psychiatrist, to remind them that they are merely an ordinary human being, not an accomplished spiritual master. The insidious allure of fame, the ephemeral dunya, power, and wealth often propels these individuals to make such claims. This ambition can metastasize into pathological deceit, megalomania, or profound psychological imbalance. It is for this reason, amplified by the reach of new technology, that we hear with increasing frequency of the abuses these individuals perpetrate, often substantiated by verifiable evidence. In the company of such claimants, you would be fortunate merely to stagnate spiritually. Regression on the path is more likely. Our Shaykh has taught us that claiming a station like that of a Sufi guide is very grave, and the person will be accountable before the Prophet, peace be upon him, to answer for claiming his noble heritage without qualifications and clear permission from him. Infinitely preferable is the path of the sincere believer who, though perhaps without a shaykh for a time, patiently and prayerfully seeks an authentic guide, rather than hastily entrusting their soul to a false claimant whose assertions remain unverifiable. Thus, the most pressing question emerges: how can one discern an authentic shaykh? Unfortunately, we are people so swayed by the ornaments of dunya that images and appearances often become our reference. We are easily impressed by grandiose Sufi lodges, vast followings, elegant robes, and imposing turbans, by those who command eloquent Arabic, have committed the Quran, Hadith, and the sayings of the saints and scholars to memory, and deliver captivating orations. But these have never been the true criteria for judging the authenticity of a spiritual guide. Nor does true guidance rest on a fleeting feeling of emotional comfort or transient contentment. Such metrics are dangerously subjective, diverging sharply from the pristine prophetic methodology. The story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam in the Quran and Sunnah teaches us that it was God himself who guided Musa till Khadr, not Musa who strived through his own judgment to assess the rank and spiritual excellency of Khadr. Hence, as our Shaykh consistently advises, the believer's first recourse in finding a true Shaykh is to turn wholly to Allah Most High. How does this happen in practice? When a seeker encounters an individual proclaiming to be a guide on the path, professing the ability to unlock unlock one's hidden spiritual realms and impart esoteric knowledge, the seeker must turn inwards and upwards, beseeching Allah for clarity on their genuineness. The Prophet, peace be upon him, legislated a prayer called prayer of consultation, which all Muslims agree upon. He, peace be upon him, taught that if a Muslim seeks divine counsel on any matter, they should perform this prayer, and Allah, in His wisdom, will provide an answer through diverse signs, whether internal or external. Therefore, the true seeker must perform the prayer of consultation before taking a sheikh as a teacher and surrendering their spiritual education to them. If they receive a positive sign, they should proceed with complete faith in Allah, putting aside their internal whisperings and doubts, for the ego will play tricks to escape the grasp of the spiritual educator, the sheikh. Conversely, if they receive a negative sign, they should avoid that claimant and stay away from them, as the dangers of following a claimant are too grave to be taken lightly, as what is at stake is nothing less than one's eternal salvation. A bonus after the prayer of consultation might be the sheikh proving himself to the disciple by manifesting something extraordinary, clear enough to show his mastery. This must be unequivocally understood that this is a starting bonus, not a prerequisite for the sheikh to perform immediately. The discerning sheikh recognizes that Allah Most High has already graced the seeker with the sign of his genuineness as a Sufi master. He may therefore first engage the disciple in cultivating the foundational branches of faith and character, allowing the disciple to meticulously cultivate sincerity, noble character, and profound surrender over extended periods before unveiling the deeper spiritual realities. The sheikh will, when the time is divinely ordained, open the gateway to the hidden realm for the seeker, earnestly pursuing true knowledge of God, but he may strategically defer this. This was generally the methodology of past masters. Examples of teachers who granted rapid spiritual openings are few. Shaykh Ahmed al-Alawi of Mustaghanim, Algeria, for instance, was renowned for guiding souls to spiritual unveilings with astonishing rapidity, but he would only allow the disclosure of divine light to remain with those disciples who were truly advanced. Our own sheikh, by contrast, recognizing the deep misguidance and veiling darknesses of our time, bestows the fourfold exemplification of the divine light at the very outset of the path. He has many times said that within our sacred chain of transmission, only the great Abdus Salam ibn Mashish shared this distinction. This in itself is a testament to the exalted station of our sheikh and the undeniable strength of his proof as the guiding wali of this era. Other proofs may include the performance of a karama, a grace miracle, or the sheikh revealing knowledge deeply personal and previously unknown to anyone but the disciple. This serves to anchor the heart of the seeker, who, despite having received the divine sign, may still wrestle with doubts. Consequently, when Allah Most High illuminates the seeker's heart with a sign of the sheikh's veracity, and the sheikh further substantiates this with his own proof, be it through spiritual opening or a manifest miracle, the seeker is called to the Sufi task of emptying their inner vessel of all constructed illusory knowledge and egoic inclinations. They must surrender with absolute trust to the spiritual and religious guidance of the sheikh, that he may remold them in the crucible of divine light. As our sheikh wisely states, the path is both easy and difficult. It is easy for those who remove their nafs from their way. For those who succeed in effacing their nafs, God is found. Conversely, it is arduous for those who persistently interpose their nafs between themselves and the guidance of the teacher. For those, the path is fraught with toil, for their nafs will relentlessly conjure up obstacles, deceptive shadows of knowledge, corrosive pride, jealousy and envy, or the shackles of lower desires. End of quote. And furthermore, the seeker must remain impervious to the criticisms of those, even outwardly learned scholars of exoteric sciences, who remain veiled from the spiritual truths of the path and the sublime ranks of the spiritual elite. Even if such individuals, armed with misused primary sources of revelation, disparage the path or the sheikh, the seeker fortified by the divine sign must view them as misguided and engulfed in darkness. They must recognize that true guidance lies in the person of the sheikh, whose spiritual station has been affirmed through the prayer of consultation. It is essential to understand that the opponents of living spiritual guides have often been and will continue to be scholars of exoteric knowledge. While they may claim knowledge and present themselves as heirs of the Prophet, peace be upon him, they are only truly so if they walk the path of spiritual unveiling and realize themselves in the prophetic light. Otherwise, and this applies to the vast majority among them, those who claim authority without light and who judge the people of the path and those granted spiritual disclosures are in fact people of the veil. They lack experiential insight into the realities of true faith and are themselves astray. Their knowledge, severed from lived spiritual experience and divine unveiling, is nothing but lifeless information. This is why the Sufis have referred to such knowledge as dead knowledge. True prophetic inheritance is not a matter of formal learning, but of divine light unveiled in the heart. As Imam Shafi'i, who was a truly realized scholar beyond the veils, beautifully said, "Knowledge is a light that God does not bestow upon the disobedient servant, and Allah Most High knows best."